Previously on Johnny's reloading bench. Our dim-witted host has taken on the dangerous task of loading plus P 9mm using Speer gold dots. He has loaded test rounds with 6 powders for initial velocity testing. Let's join him at the range and see if he blows his face off. Welcome back, guys. This is going to be episode 2 of our little 9mm plus P with gold dot hollow point series we got going on here. So the last video we talked about powder and we loaded up 60 rounds of ammo ready to go. So we are just going to start from the fastest powder, which is power pistol, and work our way down. HS6, silhouette, blue dot, accurate number 7, and Longshot. Before we get to these though, I want to kind of check out the chronograph, make sure it's going to operate the way we're expecting, and I want to chronograph our factory ammo, both plus P and regular pressure. But before we even get to those, I pulled out some of my older hand loads. These are 124 grain Hornady XTP hollow points with 5.4 grains of unique. These are nice and hot. Hornady's published max is 5, so these are a little bit above max. So they should be nice and hot. I expect them to be 1150 or so, something like that. So this is what we're going to use to kind of test our platform, check out our chronograph, make sure it's giving readings that seem right, and all of that jazz. So, yep, let's get started. I'm going to shoot, we'll go ahead and just shoot 10 rounds of these and see what sort of numbers we get. Okay, 10 rounds. Looks like we got all 10. The thing, I just picked up this little Caldwell Ballistic Precision chronograph. All it has is a display. Like, it doesn't have a single button on it except to turn it on. So everything's done with your phone or your tablet. So that looks like average 1135. Standard deviation 24.1. All right, here's 10 rounds of our standard pressure factory ammo. Let me double check myself, make sure I didn't grab the wrong box. Yep, that's what it's from. The 53618 standard pressure gold dots. I've started my new group. All right, let's see what they do. I need to buy a proper pistol rest. This thing is a pain in the butt. Good deal. 1182 feet per second. Man, standard deviation of 7.2. You talk about consistency. Min 1170, max 1190. Chasing down range brass during this is going to be a freaking pain in the butt. I think I finally found all of those, but yeah, this is going to be fun. All right, next up, 10 rounds of the plus P, and let's see if this matches my previous experience where these were slower than the standard pressures we just shot. Yeah, so that was 1173 with a standard deviation of 18.1, and our standard was 1182. So it's about, or 1183. So exactly 10 feet per second slower with the plus P's than the standards. I can't explain that, guys. I have absolutely no explanation for it. Okay, now the fun begins. We've got our power pistol, our 10 rounds of power pistol loaded up here. I went ahead and loaded the whole magazine. First 2 shots off the top are going to be 5.7 grains, and we're going all the way down to 6.5 grains. So 2 shots per charge weight, 2/10 increments, starting with 5.7. So I'll be stopping a lot to check brass. But let's get started. All right, our first 2 pieces of brass look pretty as a picture. Nice round primers. Nothing weird going on at all. And holy smokes, we're already at 1147 feet per second. Man. That is freaking impressive. All right, next 2. All right, brass looks awesome. I'm going to keep these pieces of brass, I'm going to keep track of where they came from. And when we finish up out here and get back to the bench, I'll give you a nice close look at all the brass, and we'll have a closer look. So I'll basically probably start burning through these guys, and I'll only show you brass and if we have any issues. All right, that's all the way up the ladder. Looks like our last 2 shots were 1196 and 1237. So 3 of our last 4 shots were above 1200 feet per second. Actually, I'm probably showing you a graphic over here somewhere that's got a lot better information than what I'm working with. But I am pretty darn happy with this so far. Okay, our next powder is HS6, starting with 5.8 grains, working our way up to 6.6 grains. See what it does. Yeah, if you'll remember in the last video, this is the one where I suspected that we were starting lower than we wanted to, or that our max charge wasn't quite as high as we needed. So, yep, we'll see how high we get. Yeah, so we didn't quite get as high as I'd like, but that's okay. Tell you, it was a steep curve, right? I mean, we were gaining velocity very fast, so our last 2 shots were 1185 and 1169, so it's not like we're that far off. Yep, pretty cool. All right, moving on. Next up is silhouette. Okay, our test charges are 5.1 up to 5.9. See how they do. Well, crap, I may have lost my first piece of brass here. Cannot find that last piece of Longshot brass, or silhouette brass. Huh, alright. Okay, so I finally found that piece of brass. Next up is blue dot. Starting with 7.3 grains and working up to 8.1. I'll tell you this, the case fill on this was insane. Like, it was very, very full. This was the only one I had to chase down the bullet seating die just a little bit to keep the overall length from growing. I think Quick Load told us it was about 130% case capacity, so very compressed. All right, let's see what it does. All right, that's a good start with velocity. And the brass looks great. All right, so that was a very interesting result. Our highest shot was the last one at 1165, but we gained very little velocity as we went. So it was almost like all of the extra powder we were putting in was just getting blown out the blown out the barrel instead of increasing our velocity. Very interesting. And this is kind of what Quick Load told us. But we were testing that the Alliant website data, which showed like a max velocity of 1244 or something crazy like that, and Quick Load didn't indicate that we would get there. So very, very intriguing result. All right, time to move on to accurate number 7. Okay, we're starting with 7.5 grains and going up to 8.3 grains. See what it does. All right, last but not least is Longshot. We're shooting 5.6 up to 6.4 grains. If you'll recall, this is the one I was a little bit leery of what quick load told us. So if we're going to blow our face off, I'm afraid this may be the one to do it. So let's just see what happens. No brass problems that I can spot so far, so we're just going to keep on going. Alright, so there's our 60 shots and we did not blow our face off. That is huge success. Happy with our little chronograph. It seemed to do a really nice job. So let me get packed up. Let's get back to the bench. Actually, I'll make some charts and stuff and then we'll get back to the bench and have a look at things. Tell you what, before we go inside, let's have a look at the hole we just dug. That's not too bad. So I wonder if there's any bullets in here. I see a little bit of... There's a gold dot. We could go clean that off probably. There's another one. Bunch of them in here. Tell you what, I'll grab a couple, we'll clean them off and have a look, just for the heck of it. Alright, lots to talk about here. First, let's look at a couple things. Let's look at the bullets I pulled out of the dirt. I don't know that this is significant. I don't think it probably is, but these gold dots just hold together, man. That bonded jacket, I weighed them out. The lightest one is 119 grains. So even plowing into dirt, they hold together very well. Next, let's look at the brass. And first, I'll kind of give you, an overview of all of the brass here. There were no issues at all. There aren't even any that I want to focus on necessarily. So the top of the case there are the hottest charges. They all are fine. Nice round primers. No crazy marks from the firing pin or blowouts or anything of note. They basically all look the same and they all look good. Looking a little bit closer, I did grab the highest charged brass and gave the necks a really close inspection, right? You don't want to see any split necks or, split cases down the side. Didn't see any of that. They all look good. And the other thing that you're supposed to be careful of, right? So a catastrophic failure would be a separation of the case head. So in a standard Glock chamber like we're shooting, if you look there, on the lower side where the feed ramp is, that's where it doesn't have as much support as the rest of it. And if we were getting any bulges or issues of pressure, causing issues there with the unsupported part, I would suspect that if you put a fired case into the chamber and turned it around, you would feel a high spot. I would think. So I like to do that. I did that with some of the hotter pieces of brass here, and everything was fine. I was able to spin them all freely in the chamber, so I don't think there's any sort of bulginess going on that would indicate an issue there down toward the case head. So overall, very happy with the pressure signs we saw, or didn't see, I guess I should say. So the next thing I want to do is look at some charts and graphs here of our velocities. Well, I guess we could touch on the fact that the plus P factory ammo was slow again for me. So that's 2 different trips out there, and I think now I've put enough rounds through the chronograph that I trust the chronograph. I think it's given me good readings and, you know, repeatable numbers. So whether I just got a bad box of plus Ps that aren't up to what they should be or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, honestly, the velocity on both of those is fine. I should have had that up in front of me already. It was like 1160 or something like that. 1182 and 1172. So right up there. So the standards are hotter than they're supposed to be, and the plus Ps are slower than they're supposed to be. That's fine. We'll go ahead and continue forward shooting for that 1220 or 25. Crap. I should get prepared before I turn on the freaking camera. I don't know why I always do this, but yeah, whatever Gold Dot's target velocity was for their plus Ps, or their published velocity was for the plus Ps, that's kind of going to be our target. And yeah, screw it. Let me turn off the camera a second and look it up. Yep, it was 1220. So that's going to kind of be our target as we move forward here, because what I want to do is choose 3 powders to load up more of and then start shooting for accuracy. So I think we characterized these 6 powders pretty well, and now we just need to weed it down a little bit, because I'd love to shoot them all, but I don't quite have enough bullets. Let's start out with Alliant, Power Pistol, and Blue Dot. We're our two Alliant powders. So I want to show you guys a chart here, charge weight versus velocity for Power Pistol. So the highest charge, there was one that was 1196 and one that was 1237, but the chart shows that we were just below 1225, kind of as an average there. So honestly, 6.5 grains is looking pretty good. And I guess I should say that overall the chart doesn't look too bad. That 9th shot, that one that was low, 1196 there at 6.5 grains, made it a little bit wonky. But so this isn't a beautiful graph, but it's certainly not horrible. You know, we're still gaining velocity as charge weight goes up. Things look like they're progressing like they should, and the spread doesn't look awful. It's hard to judge with 2 shots per charge, but yeah, it at least doesn't look awful. Now, if we move on and look at Blue Dot, that is just gross. I didn't even try to put a trend line on it. It's so gross. Velocity was all over the place. So Blue Dot is off the table. We're not shooting this. It is not stable. It is not giving us consistent velocities. And that's certainly not to say that Blue Dot is a bad powder. It's certainly not. And for standard velocity loadings, a little bit lower, maybe a little bit less compressed, it would probably do okay. But yeah, this, I own this powder mainly for 357. So, it's not my favorite 9mm powder anyway, but it should be maybe serviceable at lower. But with these heavily compressed charges, this was the only one that was like this, that was just all over the place. So, yep, we don't like Blue Dot. We like Power Pistol. So let's jump back to Power Pistol really quick. And I've been trying to decide what to load up. And I'll tell you what, let me grab my notebook. We'll go ahead and start. I'll make notes here. So we want power pistol. And 6.5 grains was just about where we wanted to be. So we definitely want to shoot 6.5 grains again. And I'll tell you what, let's go up 2 and down 2. So let's do 6.3, which what did 6.3 get us? It got us a little over 12. Yeah, so let's shoot 6.3, 6.5, and 6.7. So 6.7 is going to be a little bit hotter, but we'll see out of those 3 which ones group the best. So that's kind of what's going on. We'll load up 5-shot groups and try those out. All right, let's move on to the Hodgdon powders, which are HS6 and Longshot. So here's HS6 first. Yeah, this is the one, right? Our velocity was a little bit lower than I would like at the beginning, but man, it came up quickly. So our highest charge was still a little bit cool at 6.6 grains, but it was about 1175. I feel okay going forward with this and shooting hotter because, man, a lot of people shoot this powder really hot in 9mm. So I'm hoping it's not going to blow our face off. So HS6, let's go 6.8. No, screw it. All right, let's go 6.5, 6.7, and 6.9. That 6.9 load is going to be freaking hot. But it should still be under 1,250 feet per second. So we'll see which ones group better. Now, I'm writing this down already, so you can probably guess which Hodgdon powder I'm picking. Let's go ahead and move. I'll show you the chart for Longshot. Longshot was not bad, but you can see that chart. It just showed more velocity spread than HS6. That's just basically all there is to it. I think it's still a good powder for this work. I think making this judgment on 2 shots or 10 shots total is probably not fair. But we've got to do something, and we need to narrow down our selection a little bit more. So I think Longshot, good candidate, but HS6 just kind of outshot it in this test. Looks like we'd need to go up to about 6.5 grains of Longshot would have been just about perfect. But oh well, it loses the battle of Hodgdon powders. Now, on to our Western powders. Ramshot Silhouette. Accurate number 7. I still haven't decided on these. So we're gonna speak in a confused manner and make up our mind right here on camera. First, let's look at Silhouette. That's a good looking chart. That's a really good looking chart. Those shots are right there near that trend line, so nice linear increase in velocity as we were increasing charge weight. We only got up to about 1160-ish feet per second with our highest charge. I'd love to explore higher with this guy. It's looking like we would need to be up around the 6.3 grain range with Silhouette to get into the velocity range we want to be in. So that's a full 0.4 of a grain hotter than we already shot. It's kind of making me nervous because looking around, like, that is well north of any published data. And it's like, yeah, it's a half grain or 0.7 of a grain above Ramshot's published data for their 124 bullets. So it's just kind of making me nervous a little bit. Although a lot of people shoot this powder with hot 9mm, but let's move on to accurate number 7. So the velocity consistency didn't quite look as good, but it was mainly because of that 8.2 grain guy, or 8.1 grain. Those kind of had a little bit of spread, but that 8.3 looked pretty darn good. And we were pretty much almost there as far as velocity went. So I tell you what, let's shoot. Yeah, so let's shoot an accurate number 7, because we're almost there as far as velocity. So we already know that this will probably not blow our face off. Silhouette, we would still need to go up a bit higher. I think that would be okay, but the safer bet is accurate number 7, even though its chart doesn't necessarily look quite as good. We'll save silhouette for another day. All right, accurate number 7. Let's shoot. Let's see. 8.5 grains looks like it would be about 1240-ish. Yep. Let's shoot 8.5, 8.3, and 8.2. So what did 8.2 give us? So yeah, it was a little bit wonky there, but it looks like it was 1185-ish is where the trend line crosses there. So, yep, let's do 8.2, 8.3, and 8.5, and have a look at what that what sort of groups we get with that. All right. I think we're going to end this video here, because I'm hoping it's not coming across on camera, but I am freaking sick. I've got this sore throat, congestion, drainage thing going on, and the more I talk, the more I risk sounding gross, or grosser than normal. So that's basically where we're going to end this video. The next video we'll start up, we'll load up these, what are we at, 15, 30, like these 45 rounds, and then we'll hit the range and shoot them for accuracy. That may be it. That may be where we call it quits, depending on what we find, you know, depending on what sort of accuracy we get. And I have a feeling there'll probably end up being a 4th video just as a cleanup, you know, because, you know, needing to load a few more. Maybe shooting the load we work up. I might be able to shoot it in my Glock 43 and see what happens. I do have a Beretta with a longer barrel. It might blow my face off, but we might shoot 1 or 2 in that, just to see what happens with velocity. I'm not sure. Got some time to think about it here. But overall, this video, so far in the process, very happy. We've managed to stay safe. We haven't had anything scary going on with the brass. Our powder choices have been pretty good. So I think we're in pretty good shape. So, all right, I will see you guys next time.